My name is Colleen Balas, and I am the chair of the International Alliance for ALS and MND Associations. And I'm honored and privileged to present this year's Humanitarian Award. So let me tell you a little bit about the award. It was established or inaugurated in 2000 by the International Alliance for ALS and MND Associations. It was to recognize a non-scientific contribution to the fight against ALS and MND. The Humanitarian Award is intended to recognize and encourage individuals and/or groups whose work makes and has made a contribution to the international significance for people affected by ALS and MND. This year's award winner of the Humanitarian Award is Dr. David Taylor, Vice President of Research at ALS Canada. Dr. Taylor is relentless in his pursuit of a world free of ALS and MND. In his role as Vice President of Research at ALS Society of Canada, he oversees Canadian National Research Program, facilitating collaborations within and for the ALS research community. But it is not for the work of ALS Canada that we are recognizing David for this award. With the International Alliance of ALS MND Associations, David has been the chair of the Scientific Advisory Council, or the SAC as we lovingly call it, since 2018, and has built a group of 10 key opinion leaders from around the world who are focused on breakthroughs in research and care options and communicating them in an accessible and understandable manner, which isn't that easy. The SAC is, one of his nominees said that the SAC is very important for all patients and caregivers around the world because its members are the experts and provide a worldwide view on research and potential medicines. To get an opinion on those breakthroughs from the council is much better than from only one country. The best care and cure for patients will happen if we look for an international perspective. And that is what Dr. Taylor is coordinating as the chair of the SAC. That came from Gorit Jan in the Netherlands. Many of our member organizations do not have their own research staff, and the SAC assists them in providing evidence-based explanations of what's happening in research. The Humanitarian Award recognizes and encourages those whose non-scientific work makes or has made a contribution of international significance for people affected by ALS and MND. Under David's direction, the SAC comes together regularly to review and provide global perspective on the scientific and biomedical announcements that come out all the time. This information opportunities have been related to about ALS and MND. As chair, David puts a lot, and I can attest to this, a lot of extra time providing advice to member inquiries directly, drafting the first round of each document that the SAC produces, and moderating Q&A sessions twice a year for our members and advisory council members. David is fantastic at breaking down complex topics into lay language and conveying really difficult realities in a compassionate way. Another person said about David, modern leadership requires a combination of strong ethics, effective cross-cultural communication, and a focus on others. Dr. Taylor embodies all of these traits and more. I'm thrilled to see his dedication to our collective cause recognized on a global scale. David, congratulations. I welcome everyone to please help me in virtually congratulating you on receiving this year's Humanitarian Award. So I'm now going to virtually present you your award, and I hope that next year we get to do this together in person. David?
Okay. Thank you very much, Kalani. Have to say, when I first heard about this a couple days ago, I had to check to see if it was a mistake. And I'm not sure I still quite understand, especially since it's for non-scientific contributions and it's for the Scientific Advisory Council. What a tremendous gesture and such a kind and thoughtful thing to be nominated for, and such an honor to receive. And I guess I can only hope, the only thing I can say is that I hope to live up to it someday. And then I realized after hearing that it's very rare in your adult life that you get a chance to shout out to the people who put you in any position to ever be nominated for something like this. So very quick shout out to Heather Durham, Ruth Lucy Carter, Janice Robertson, Lindy David, very much Tammy Moore, Christine Van de Velde, Christiana Salmon, Colleen Doyle, all my colleagues at ALS Canada, the International Alliance, the SAC, which this is really an award for the SAC. So thank you to all of them. And last, I want to just say, I would like to shout out the humanitarian efforts of groups that aren't often recognized, like the researcher and clinician community, who give countless number of hours in the evenings and weekends. I get to see it all the time, and these are talented, intelligent people who could work anywhere, but they work in ALS-MND because they truly care. And you all know I'm a big nerdy fan of each of you, and my predecessors in this role, especially as well, Brian Dickey, Lucy Bruin, in terms of your fingerprints are across this field and the major achievements. And you set a bar that of impact that I could only hope to aspire to. And last but foremost, the people living with ALS-MND who inspire us all, particularly the humanitarian efforts of those who align their powerful voices with organizations and clinicians and researchers, friends back home like Norma Kizek and Eddie Lefrancois, and Brian Parsons, Agent M, and then the great Steve Gleason, who we're going to hear about at this symposium, we're going to hear from people who fit both groups, like Justin Yerbury, who's inspiring, and then of course the great example by the group in the UK, David Setters and Lee Millard, along with Dottie Weir, Stephen Darby, and Rob Burrow. Those are humanitarian efforts that set the bar for all of us. Thank you to all of you. You inspire me. And last, I would say that this is a disease that asks so much of people who are living with it and who work on it. And time again, I'm in awe of how much everyone over delivers. And I'm just I'm so grateful to be such a tiny part of this field. And so I hope I can live up to this someday. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think all of those comments are so true. And well, you talk about non-scientific contribution. I had the same thought as I was giving those words, at the same time knowing that because you're able to help lead a group of people to create a segue of scientific information in a way that people can really digest and understand, that really has empirical evidence behind it, is a huge impact on our community, and one that I know that was desperately needed on a regular basis. So thank you for that. Thanks for all of your compassion. And I know I speak for many people when I say that you might think that you're a tiny part, but you are a large part of this community. And I know many people are grateful for that. So hopefully next year we get to see each other in person and we get to celebrate together.
Thanks so much. So kind. Thanks.
Absolutely.